Welcome to G Fun Facts Online. Every time you walk through a major city, you are walking on top of a hidden world. Beneath the pavement, the subways, and the foundations of skyscrapers lies a layered history of forgotten lives, buried secrets, and lost worlds. Today, we're digging into the thrilling and urgent field of urban archaeology, the science of uncovering the stories of a city's past before they are erased forever. It's a story of complex puzzles, a race against time, and discoveries that can rewrite history. So what exactly is urban archaeology? It's not just about finding ancient Roman ruins under a London bank, although that happens. It's the specialized discipline of studying the material past of our towns and cities. It examines the very process of how cities grow, evolve, and consume themselves. While history books and official records tell us about grand events, wars, and powerful rulers, they often leave out the stories of everyday people, the immigrants, the working classes, the marginalized communities. Their lives shape the city just as much as any mayor or merchant. Archaeology gives these people a voice by sifting through what they left behind: a broken piece of pottery, the bones from a family dinner, a worn-out tool. Archaeologists can reconstruct the intimate details of daily life. These artifacts are unbiased archives. They tell us what people ate, what diseases they suffered from, and how their neighborhoods changed. In a very real sense, urban archaeology fills in the gaps, giving us a more democratic and complete picture of our own history. Excavating in a city, however, is nothing like a quiet dig in the countryside. It is a gauntlet of unique and formidable challenges. The first major hurdle is what's known as complex stratigraphy. Cities are built on top of themselves, over and over again for centuries, sometimes millennia. Old buildings are demolished, pits are filled with trash, new foundations are laid, and new roads are paved. This creates a dense, jumbled stack of layers, a three-dimensional puzzle of human history. Imagine a single city block. You might find the foundations of a 20th century factory built directly over an 18th century graveyard, which in turn cuts through the stone walls of a medieval church that was built on top of a Roman villa. Deciphering this vertical labyrinth, figuring out what came before what, is one of the greatest intellectual challenges for any archaeologist. Then there's the tyranny of space and time. Urban excavations are almost never driven by pure curiosity. They are dictated by construction plans. The dig is confined to the exact footprint of a new skyscraper's basement or a narrow trench for a new fiber optic cable. This limited view makes it hard to see the big picture. Compounding this is the immense pressure of time. This work is often called rescue archaeology or salvage archaeology because it is a frantic race against the clock. Developers are on tight schedules and budgets, and a significant archaeological find can mean costly delays. So the teams have to work with lightning speed to record and recover as much information as possible before the site is destroyed forever by construction. It's a demanding balancing act between scientific rigor and the relentless pace of modern development. Finally, there's the modern minefield. Archaeologists must navigate a dense, hidden web of modern infrastructure. Sewer lines, gas mains, water pipes, and subway tunnels crisscross beneath the surface. Hitting one isn't just an inconvenience. It can be incredibly dangerous and disruptive. Add to that the risks from city traffic, contaminated soil from industrial waste, and the instability of nearby buildings, and you have one of the most challenging work environments imaginable. To overcome these immense obstacles, urban archaeologists have developed a highly specialized toolkit. The biggest revolution came in the 1970s with a system called single context recording. Instead of just digging down in arbitrary levels, archaeologists treat every single identifiable event as a unique context. A layer of soil, the cut of a pit, a wall foundation, a post hole, each one gets its own number, its own detailed drawing, and its own description sheet. This creates a mountain of data, which is then organized using a brilliant tool called the Harris matrix. The Harris matrix is essentially a flowchart that maps the physical and temporal relationships between every single context. It forces the archaeologist to determine if one layer is above, below, or unrelated to another. By diagramming these simple relationships, a complex sequence of events emerges from the chaos. It allows them to logically deconstruct the site's history, showing which pit was dug first, which wall was built later, and which floor was laid last. This system has become the global standard for bringing order to complex urban sites. Technology also plays a huge role. Before even breaking ground, non-invasive tools like ground-penetrating radar or GPR can send radio waves into the earth, creating a map of what lies beneath. It can reveal buried walls, voids, or other large features without any digging, allowing archaeologists to target their efforts more precisely. And during the dig, technologies like laser scanning and photogrammetry create incredibly detailed, interactive 3D models of the excavation. These digital replicas preserve the site with millimeter accuracy, long after the physical evidence is gone. All this data can be fed into Geographic Information Systems, or GIS, powerful mapping tools that can analyze patterns across an entire city, revealing how neighborhoods grew or where ancient industries were located. But the true magic is in the stories these digs uncover. In London, the massive Crossrail project triggered one of the most extensive archaeological efforts in British history. At one site, they uncovered over 3,000 skeletons from the 16th century Bedlam burial ground. Analysis of these remains gave a stunningly detailed look into the lives of Londoners from that era, revealing evidence of their diet, the physical hardships they endured, and even the DNA of the plague bacterium that killed them. In New York City, a 1991 construction project led to a monumental discovery, the African burial ground. This 17th and 18th century cemetery was the final resting place for an estimated 15,000 enslaved and free Africans, a sacred site that had been completely forgotten and paved over. Its rediscovery was a watershed moment. The investigation, driven by the passionate advocacy of the African descendant community, provided invaluable and harrowing information about the lives and deaths of the city's enslaved population, a history that had been almost completely erased from official records. Today, it's a national monument, a powerful testament to archaeology's ability to reclaim suppressed histories. In Mexico City, which sits atop the ruins of the Aztec capital, Tenochtitlan, archaeologists recently found the Huitzilopochtli, a monumental rack of human skulls described by Spanish conquistadors but never before seen. The Tower of Skulls, which included men, women, and even children, has challenged previous understandings of Aztec ritual sacrifice, providing a direct and visceral link to the city's pre-Hispanic identity. And in Rome, digging for a new metro line has unearthed incredible finds. From the mosaic-floored rooms of an imperial military barracks near the Colosseum, to the remnants of a 2nd century commercial farm, complete with peach pits preserved for nearly 2,000 years. These discoveries paint a granular picture of everyday life in the ancient capital. This brings us to the uneasy alliance between development and preservation. Urban archaeology is fundamentally driven by construction, yet its goal is to preserve the knowledge that construction threatens to destroy. This tension is managed through legislation, often called cultural resource management. In many countries, developers are required to fund archaeological assessments before they can build. If something significant is found, a plan is made. Sometimes this means a full-scale rescue excavation. In other cases, when the remains are exceptionally important, construction plans may be altered to preserve the archaeology right where it is. The best projects are collaborations. An ancient Roman wall might be showcased in the glass lobby of a new office building, or the foundations of a medieval house might be preserved under a glass floor in a shopping center. This approach turns a potential conflict into an opportunity, enriching the modern city and adding cultural value to new developments. As our cities continue to grow, the threats to our buried heritage will only increase, but our ability to explore it is also advancing. The future will likely see greater use of AI, to analyze the vast amounts of data from these digs, and predictive modeling will help us identify important sites long before a shovel ever hits the ground. The city is a living museum, a palimpsest where the stories of countless generations are written on top of one another. The urban archaeologist works in the trenches of the present to salvage the stories of the past, ensuring that as our cities build ever higher, they don't lose touch with the deep, complex, and fascinating foundations from which they came.